Sure. Test the mic. Test the mic.
You just pull that back.
Hello?
Sure.
Yep.
There's no John. There's no John. Where's John?
There is no John.
All
Only
right, so can we get Katie to do it?
Yeah, we're ready anytime.
Okay.
I just need 1 second to wire this one.
All right.
Where is she? Does she know?
I hate Asterisk. I'm Joel Bruno. This is Eric Smith. Hopefully you'll find this talk entertaining and pretty cool. Special thanks to Jeremy, who helped us out with the slides, did a lot of work, made sure it was all pretty. Disclaimer, a lot of times, projector.
Stroking out there for a minute.
All right, sweet. A lot of times you come to these Asterisk talks, there's a panel of guys up here, they say, Asterisk is great, we love Asterisk, it has all these features, you could do this, you could do that. They'll give you a history of Asterisk, they'll show you IP stuff, and this is not that. So just in case you're wondering, there's nothing trick with the title. Who am I? I'm Joel Bruno. I have 10 years of experience in IT. I do not do any type of VoIP at work. All of this work that I've done has been on my own as an end user. I was just checking out Asterisk and VoIP, and you know, I thought it was interesting. I'd been to a lot of these talks where people said, oh, you know, you can set up Asterisk, you can be your own phone company. I thought it was exciting. I said, let's do it. I'm ready. So what is Asterisk, for those of you who do not know? Asterisk is an open source PBX. Mark Spencer of Digium wrote it. It runs on relatively inexpensive hardware. For those of you who do not know what a PBX is, it's a private branch exchange. You can set it up to your own phone company. You can have, I'll just show you what some of the features are. All kinds of different features. You can have voicemail, you can email the voicemail to your phone, video conferencing, call waiting. This is directly from Asterisk's website. There's so many features with Asterisk. Go out there, look at it, it's exciting, you'll get excited, and then you'll start looking at some of the features. When you come to these talks, people talk about torturing telemarketers. And I just really have one thing to say. If you really, these people's lives are difficult enough. I'm not a telemarketer, never have been. I don't know if anybody is out there. These people's lives are tough. They call out, they call you and, no, I don't know, I don't want to know. Do not call.gov. Just sign up for that and you don't have to worry about these people calling you anymore. One of the really cool things I found with Asterisk, and this is in the reference page. Somebody wrote up, you can use your cell phone to call back to your home with an unlimited calling plan like the Sprint PCS to home. For $5, call home and then have all your calls routed back out, so you can have unlimited calls from your cell phone. Pretty cool. Still hate it. So how did I get into all this? Back in October 2005, Staples had free PAP2s after rebate. PAP2s, it's an analog telephone adapter. I know I said I was going to really talk about hardware, but you know, it's necessary evil. PAP2 is an analog telephone adapter. You can use any analog telephone with a VoIP service. So they ran these. Somebody found out right about the same time how to hack them. I saw it out there. I don't know if you read my bio. I like to avoid warranties. I said, hey, let's go give this a shot. So I picked up a bunch of them and I started hacking them, and I'd seen the talks. I wanted to get Asterisk set up. I was all ready. I was excited. Let's get it going. So then I was all right, which distribution of Linux do I use for this? Which distribution of Asterisk? And there's only some of the VoIP carriers will allow you to be your own phone company. Up there we have Voice Pulse, Broad Voice, ViaTalk, Free World Dial-Up. You can have ViaTalk cheap. If after you see this talk and you think I'm full of whatever, go get ViaTalk. You can find it for $100 for 2 years. Free World Dial-Up's free, but It's limited, so give it a shot. You can give your own talk next year or at DEF CON. And so was it time for me to give up? No. There was a distribution called Asterisk at Home. You plopped it down on your PC, set up the Linux for you, set up the Asterisk for you, installed everything, so all you had to do was configure it. Sounds easy enough, right? No, it's still tricky to configure. There's limited stuff in the manual, and so you're going to be forced to go out onto forums and out on IRC and talk to the people to try, say, I'm having trouble setting this up. Could you please help me? I don't really can't. And then you'll eventually get it set up, and there you go. And that's my turd polish for VoIP. So you have a small business and you need a PBX, and you heard Asterisk runs on relatively inexpensive hardware. You don't want to spend a lot of money. You heard, you know what, I can get this running on a cheap router. So you go out and you purchase a WRT54GL. This router says right on the box that it runs Linux and it runs open source software. So you get your router, you throw your Linux on there, and then you're like, all right, well, I need some help. I need some help setting this up. So, I mean, the only really place you can go is back to Linksys and say, you know, can you help me set this up?
Let me know the level on this.
So me, I had a friend of mine call Linksys. His name will be Randy.
My first name's Randy. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up some software on my wireless router, the WRT54GL.
And this is what the Linksys guy said. So basically you want to set up that router for your network. Yeah.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up free world dial-up, and like I don't really know where to set it up.
So our businessman Randy has a basic question. How do I set this up? To which the Linksys guy said, free world dial-up? And then Randy said?
Yeah, the free world dial-up. Let me tell you what I did. I installed Asterisk and the open source PBX by Mark Spencer. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up free world dial-up. Do you have any suggestions? I don't really know where to go.
And the Linksys guy said, Randy, I don't know where to go with that either. Let me ask you, how many computers are on your network? All right. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but this talk basically came out of those other talks. It started out as a rant, and then it got supercharged with alcohol. And so this is the rant slide. Is your phone system mission critical to your business? And if it is, are you going to run this on a $65 router? Or are you going to have some kind of redundancy? What are you going to do for failover? What are you going to do for backup? What is the true cost to your business when your PBX goes down and what drops? And then who do you call when it breaks? Not Linksys, because they'll just ask you how many computers you have at work. So what should you do? I do not work for Cisco. This is just an example. There are commercially available VoIP routers. They're not that expensive. They'll do a PBX for you. This example is just a Cisco router. It's $2,400, 400 years, or not 400 years, $400 a year for support. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's reliable, and you can call somebody when your stuff goes down. So what did I do? I faced the ugly truth. There's limited home uses for most of the features of Asterisk. And there's the bouncing Shmoo ball off me, because I figured I'd have a Shmoo ball by now. So, no Shmoo balls. So what did I do? I signed up for Vonage, right? You're an idiot. No, listen, I understand Vonage is not a PBX, but what did I want to do? I was viewing this as an end user. I wanted to lower my phone bill. I wanted voicemail. I wanted to call forward. Blah, blah, blah. Sounds a lot less stupider, huh? Check out Vonage. They have all these things. The list is not as long as Asterisk, but it was everything that I wanted to do from a home use. And I clicked. But is Vonage any good? I don't work for Vonage either, honest. Back in 2005, there were about 1 million Vonage subscribers. In 2007, there are 2.2 million. Now, I don't know if anybody was reading the paper, if anybody's staying here, but Washington Post, in 2008, the number might be 0. People were forecasting that because of the lawsuit, Verizon's lawsuit against Vonage, that they might just have to shut down. But that'd be sad because then that would kill the rest of our presentation. So, drinking and complaining. Like I said, this started out and there was alcohol involved. I was drinking with Eric, who had black hair at the time, and we were talking about how much I hate Asterisk, the Linksys Global Network. Everybody's familiar with Linksys Global Network? Everywhere you go, there's a Linksys router that's unsecured. Linksys provides that, yeah, all right. So, and we were talking about how secure SIP and RTP, secure SIP and RTP are, and that how even I was able to capture my own Vonage conversations, and so it's really not that secure. So, also women, booze, cars, and how much I hate Applebee's. This is Eric. I'm going to pass it over to him.
Eric, take this off there. All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out again. First talk after the party. Appreciate that. My name is Eric Smith. I am the network administrator for Bucknell University, which is located in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. We have a 10,000 node network, runs a voice over IP. So unlike Joel, I actually pretend that I know what I'm talking about with phones and stuff. And they have a really security paranoid network administrator. So we talked a little bit about SIP a slide or two ago. So I'm not an expert on SIP. I know what it does. And we found this nice graphic on the internet, so we put it in our slide. But basically what SIP does fundamentally is it lets a voice over IP device act like a phone. So you can make a phone call having to know what the IP address of the other PAP2 is or something like that. So it sets up the session. Once the endpoints know each other, then the data can actually start going back and forth. So you mix some SIP with some RTP and you have VoIP. So like Joel said, we were sitting around drinking, complaining about SIP and RTP and Vonage and everything else, and got on the conversation of security of this. And 2.2 million subscribers have their unencrypted telephone calls going over the internet. Not a great idea. So yeah, not secure. And I just wanted to point out that we're not picking on Vonage here. Any voice over IP provider who's not doing secure RTP is basically doing POP3 plain text phone calls. So a couple of beers later, we thought we should call Vonage and tell them about this. They definitely don't know about it. They would have fixed it by now. So we called, and we got a guy on the phone, and we asked him, and I don't have a recording of this because it was kind of boring. But we asked him, is it true that, we read on the interweb that you can record these phone calls? And he goes on hold for a while and comes back and says, yeah, that's true. So, so at least they're on it. So further thinking, further IPAs later, we thought, we should automate this attack. We should make something that we can just turn on and have it automatically record your phone calls. So that's what we built. We called it the SIPinator. It's really an RTPinator, but that doesn't flow off the tongue as well. It's obviously it's a Linksys WRT54G with a few modifications. And we have a version that's actually camouflaged to fit into the surroundings so you can hide it. What it does is it targets PAP2s on a compromised wireless network, and for version 1, compromised wireless network means, Linksys channel 6, no WEP key.
Mike, I just need to mention one thing. I don't know if you noticed, you'll see it on another slide. The version of the SIPinator that you were looking at there, it glows blue. So if you ever run into a situation where you need to camouflage something with glowing blue light, we do have a SIPinator for that. So,
thank you. Okay, and like I mentioned, we're actually not doing any breaking of wireless or anything on this. If you want to learn about that, there's plenty of other venues here and elsewhere to go to learn about that. So here's actually the camouflage SIPinator.
antenna.
Okay. And if you look inside this particular version, we use the WRT, this is such a mouthful, WRT SL54GS, which is the smaller version of the WRT54G with the USB port on it. There's a lead acid battery in there, and since you have that USB port, you can actually throw a hard drive on it. So we had a hard drive on this, and I don't know if somebody can figure out how much length of phone call you could record on an 80 gig hard drive. It would be a lot. You'd definitely run out of battery before you ran out of disk space on that particular Sipinator. Software is very simple. All it is an automated search for PAP2 and then an automated ARP spoof, and some other stuff goes on. There's nothing really new to what we're doing here. It's just automated and packaged up. And very little you actually have to do to configure the software. You have to tell it what the target SSID is. You can definitely set that to any if you want to feel lucky. Tell it the first half of the MAC address for the target, and that's the one that's in the default software, is for the Linksys PAP2, and then just give it a dump site, an FTP where you want it to offload the data. So if you're not using the Sipinator that you want to actually go back and retrieve from somebody's ports, you can just have it uploaded somewhere on the internet.
About the security. It's not in there, but they can.
Yeah, Joel just mentioned that, if you want it to attack a network that you've broken the WEP or you've found the WPA key, you could put that in there. But this version doesn't have a feature for that, so somebody can write that and send it in if they want. So how does a Sipinator work exactly? Well, let's just look at how a home user with Vonage is making phone calls, and it's pretty straightforward. They have a wireless router. They plug their PAP2 or their IP phone into one of the wired ports on the router. It goes out over the interweb, contacts Vonage. You can make phone calls. Okay. So what does a Sipinator do? We've already touched on this a little bit. It associates to the wireless network. It does an ARP scan to try to find that PAP2. Once it does, it ARP spoofs it, dumps the RTP packets to the flash, and then periodically send those off to your dead drop somewhere.
Would it have to be a Commodore 64?
Yes. We find the Commodore 64 is the most secure machine on the internet. All right, so you're thinking that's cute and everything, but I mean, really, how many people is this going to affect? So we did some total pulling numbers out of our butt math here. According to Wiggle, 41.9% of the networks that have been set are unencrypted. If you take Vonage and add in all the other small fry VoIP providers, you get about 3 million customers right now, and 53% of broadband subscribers have wireless access points, and we just totally made that up.
And we don't have a Shmoo ball yet.
No Shmoo balls, not even for
not a Shmoo
blatantly making up stuff. All right.
Thank you.
So multiply all that together, and that gives you about 600,000 people whose phone calls could be from outside of their house without their knowledge. So it kind of harkens back to the days of the old 900 megahertz cell phones and the scanners. All right, so we're going to try a demo of this, and it's cross your fingers. Let's hope that it works. Please don't de-auth the Sipinator during the demo. We actually tried, as you can see, we made a very high-tech Faraday cage here for the demo, which is 2 pieces of conduit. But last night we discovered that there's some sort of ground loop on the ground of the antenna connectors, and when you put two WRT54Gs together like that, the power light starts blinking and they lock up. So don't do that. I don't know why that would be. So
Only you can help prevent forest fires. So
yeah. So I'm going to give the mic to Joel here, and we're going to try this demo.
all right, so we're gonna move stuff around. We got a PAP2. We got a WRT54G. We got a Sipinator, and I'm in the way. I'm just gonna move over here. Anybody see our video, the preset kill limit video, ShmooCon? No? All right, great. Thanks for checking it out. It's out on YouTube. And now it's on the.
Eventually, it found its way over there.
It's over there.
Okay, so what we have up here is we have Linksys access point plugged into the CON network here. Subscribed, actually paid for this. Vonage PAP2.
This is my phone. Please do not call me.
So let's hope that this is actually working.
All right, you can call me. But
Just can't hear it. Oh, we do have dial tone. We do have dial tone, so that's good. Okay, so that's our target network, and then here's the Sipinator. It's powered up, and the other cable's just going to my laptop so I can SSH into it. So this would be, you know, outside of your house.
And Eric is starting up the Sipinator, and he's tailing the logs.
All right, so you can kind of see what it's doing here. It found the target. It got a lease. It's doing an ARP scan. It takes a minute. Okay, so it found a couple of boxes, and it found the PAP2. So once it finds a PAP2, it's going to start dumping any packets it sees out to disk. So now all we got to do is sit here and wait for a phone call, and we can see what happens. So how you doing today?
Oh, look at that.
Hello? I'm Shmoo1861. Oh, I couldn't tell you. No, I mean, I'm not sure. Not for an hour or so. All right, so you can see the file size was growing there as I was talking on the phone. So let's see if this worked.
Eric's just opening up Wireshark. Well,
All right, so here's our packet dump off the Sipinator. You can see there are some SIP packets. You can see it, the call coming in, session established, and then we get our RTP session, and there's our lovely phone call, and some other stuff that Joel doesn't want me to show you.
Yep.
So Wireshark's really cool. It knows all about RTP. So we can ask it to show us all the RTP. So there are 2 streams, each half of the conversation, of course. So I need to, Joel, have the mic because I need 2 hands.
all right. And if you've not done this before in Wireshark, make sure that you hold down the shift while you're clicking the other one, or it won't do anything. And then he's clicking, and then there's more clicking. And then nothing's happening, and nothing's happening. Now he's saving his file. He's going to call it something.au. He's going to change that to AU. And then and then nothing's happening. And then there's the call, shmoocall.au. And then we hope.
All right, cross your fingers.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
I'm Shmoo1861.
How long till you can leave?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
You can tell me, I'm your friend.
No, I mean, I'm not sure.
Yes?
No, not for an hour or so.
You can't take a guess for an hour?
Thank you. Thank you. Eric's switching back cables. He's switching back cables. And that was all automated, as you could see. Except for the Jeremy calling.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the spontaneous phone call. Director takes so long, so please bear with us here. Okay. All right, so yeah, that sucks. Nobody wants to have their phone calls recorded. So, what can you do about it? Well, you can secure your network, of course, but what about the person you're calling? What if they haven't secured their network? What about every guy who works at every ISP between you and the other end of your phone call? So sitting at layer 2 isn't going to help you here. You really need to start complaining to your VoIP provider that you need secure RTP. That's really the only solution to this. So we talked a little bit about Vonage, and I just want to mention that a lot of the other people who are in the VoIP business have been doing a lot more to prevent this sort of attack. And this is actually the Nortel IP phone that's on my desk in my office. And right in the firmware of the phone is even buried in a config file on a server somewhere, there's actually an option to ignore gratuitous harps. So this phone can be told to not be SIPinated basically, and Cisco phones can do the same thing since I think 2003. So it's not all terrible out there. Some people are working on this problem. This is something that we whipped up again under the influence of alcohol. We were using this in the room last night, so we decided that we need a cordless Vonage phone. So we took a WRT54G, put it in client mode, stuck the PAP2 on there in the phone, and we didn't have duct tape, so we just actually used a piece of Cat5 to tie it all together. We're going to get so rich on this thing. It only weighs 4 pounds. You get almost 8 minutes of talk time. This is the perfect cordless phone for the road warrior. Believe it or not, that's all that we had. We actually did this for the 30-minute track, so it stuck us in here, and we didn't really have enough fluff to add to the thing to blow it out any more than that. So if you want the software for the SIPinator, you can go grab it from our website. There's the resources at everything we talked about. And that's actually a picture of Bill Nye the Science Guy signing the SIPinator. So.
Sweet, thanks. Do anybody have any questions? Do you want to know what else we can do if we get more alcohol? Yes.
What was the distribution you guys used as a basis for the EOS on the SIPinator?
It's OpenWork, White Russian. If you go download the software, there's an install file that tells you what you'll need, which install the base, and then you need a bunch of other packages to go with it.
Thank you for the question. Next question.
You guys try that with Skype?
No.
Skype is encrypted.
Thank you for the question. Next question. Yes, sir. The gentleman pointed out about Asterisk and how wonderful it is, and I think that's great. And and like I said, I gave you all the stuff that Asterisk does. I think it's wonderful. So,
I can show the commercial.
do you want to see the commercial? We got time. How much time we have?
A lot.
We got a lot of time. Questions or commercial? Yes, sir.
How much custom, did you do any code or anything that's custom to help rip that stuff off as it passes by, or did you do it right out of it?
It's just a basic man-in-the-middle attack. The only thing that one of the big things was the automated searching for the MAC address too, and that's the only adapter that we went after because that's the adapter that I had and it seemed like it was a good enough target because that's one that's most prevalent. So, and this was and one of the reasons why I did the numbers on the Vonage was just because you could see that there's a lot of people signing up for Vonage. There's a lot more people that are signing up for Vonage. It's popular, and people have unsecured networks. So you just go drop a shrubbery out in front of somebody's house, one that's expensive, and you can start recording their phone calls. Actually, there's a question over here. Yes, sir.
So if you have the D-Link device or something, you drop the MAC address from that in there as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
The question was if you have the D-Link device, you can just drop the MAC address in there. And the answer is yes, absolutely.
What's the state of the current package? Because I heard that the latest versions of the guide can't hack anymore.
The PAP2 hacking.
The PAP was on the latest versions of the PAP2 that you can't hack it. I'll let Eric answer that. All right, Eric doesn't want to answer that. Hang on, please stand by.
Well, we may actually be able to show you.
We may be able to show you
if it was in that dump.
if it was in that dump.
Stand by.
Please stand by.
You can answer another question while we're doing this.
All right, Eric's going to look at that. We'll come back to you. Honest, I'm going to try and get another question I can't get an answer to. Yes, sir.
What do you know about the technical details of the Verizon Vonage suit? And is this another case of patents being overextended?
Actually, we had talked about that earlier, and they said one of the things was the question was what do I know about the patent suit from Verizon against Vonage? Nothing, but it's in the paper, and they said that they have to change their patents or going to change the way they do business, or they're going to be shut down. So, I'm not a patent expert. I don't know exactly what they infringe upon. So, I mean, this is late breaking news, Saturday, March 24th. We reading this on the, where you read your newspaper. So,
And some of the people where the calls are hooked into a Verizon cellular network, and it infringes some patents that they have. And there's a final saying they have to stop or they'll be, permanent or shut down service.
I don't know that I can repeat that on the microphone. If you want to run up here or run to a microphone, you could say that. Better answer than I could give. All right, we're going to jump over this answer.
All right. This somebody asked about, how do you, unlock a Vonage locked PAP2, and I'm not going to tell you that because I don't want to get sued. But this is a dump of PAP2 booting, and what's interesting is that it's very insistent about doing this all the time. And this is actually where it does its firmware update. So I know there's no possible way for you to put a box up that had that IP address that the PAP2 might get to instead of the real box, but something to think about. And it's interesting, the file isn't out there when there's no updates. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But it does this periodically throughout the day. And I'm not sure how it decides when a good time is to take your phone down to do a firmware update, but it does do that.
And the other thing to that was, if you check on eBay, there are unlocked PAP2s, or not that they're unlocked, but they're not locked to Vonage. You can get them for about $50. Honest, trust me. So, yes, sir.
You just might want to quickly mention you break about 17 laws in the process to record a meeting.
We actually, yeah, by the way, if you record somebody's calls, it is illegal, and somebody will, yeah, that's not good. So as you notice, we didn't play anybody's phone calls that we recorded besides Jeremy's, and he knew he was going to get recorded. But anybody else, we did not play anything because we don't want to get hauled away.
We only played half of the call to Linksys.
Linksys call, we only played half. Yeah, by the way, this is illegal. Do not try it at home. Thank you.
Well, to clarify that, it's illegal to do it without the person's permission. Okay, so any of the calls we've done in this research, we of course had everyone's permission.
So you rebuilt the whole call in Wireshark and converted it to the AU?
Yeah, the Wireshark can dump out the RTP stream as an AU file. So you just have to make sure you capture the entire call end to end. Otherwise, Wireshark can't put it back together. But if it has a whole call, yeah, you can dump it right out as an AU. And there's other tools to do that as well. But Wireshark does it really elegantly. What's really nice too is if you had a dump file that had a whole bunch of phone calls in it, it actually is smart enough to match up the halves for you, so you don't have to try and figure out which of the streams go together. So. All right, you guys still want to see the commercial?
Cue the commercial. Do it.
Time filler.
Time filler.
We did get free T-shirts for the commercial.
Pause it. Pause it. You're good.
Okay.
Good sound.
What the fuck?
Thank you. Questions on the commercial?
The best part about the commercial is that we actually found two nice young ladies who, when we said, "Hey, do you guys want to be in our commercial?" they didn't call the cops.
I'm sorry.
Quite a few. All right. Well, thank you.
All right, hey, thanks. Thanks for coming out. Watch. What's that? Well, we practiced. And it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yesterday, the audio recorded this room. Had an audio MP3. We lost all the audio on the videotape from this room.
That sucks.
We have that. We can fix it. All the Kaminsky, it's all gone. Some of the audio.
Which battery did you use to operate the exploit?
I'm sorry?
Which battery did you operate? You used to power this?
Oh, the power?
Yeah, well, just to leave it without
Oh,
power supply.
you can just use any battery. This one just has a little lead acid battery. Use that. That works really well.
Have you considered this into the integration of the Sipinator, the C64 emulator?
The Wireshark, when you can do that, you can actually dump the RTP down into.
You might want to consider that into the integration.
Very nice, thank you.
Where are those options at?
Do you know?
To dump the RTP.
Do you know if on
Show you if you want to see it.
if you look on Vonage's site, what they actually recommend
Yeah.
for configuring a home network?
Any tools out there to
They
put
don't.
together
I don't-
skinny,
See that when I got
protocol,
Vonage, when they sent me my little thing, they
Yeah.
recommended I put it outside.
Probably, but not that I know of. I haven't.
So
I
I
just
have a
basically
Vonage
we were looking at
wireless
RTP
phone.
for
Yeah.
that.
because
Same
I
as
was
my
playing
coordinate
with
system throughout.
just
Yeah.
key enable.
So it's
allows
outside
you
my
to
router,
cut right
so it doesn't have an
Yeah.
IP.
If it's not encrypted, then you're probably
I've not
okay.
seen anything on the Vonage site that has